It's a day late and a dollar short, but we're keeping it going. Here's the weekend update on a Monday because Sidewalk Crew. Sponsored by W Energy. It's the Sidewalk Crew. W Energy, W.GG, yeah. So today we're going to talk about something that I thought was amazing. That I feel like got swept under the rug. And it's for nerds and nerds alike. So buckle in, strap on, people. We're about to go down the rabbit hole. Who all was aware of this? Who all knew this was happening? Disney put out an album called A Whole New Sound with some of the coolest bands from the era. Like if you came up in if you were born in the late 80s, early 90s, and you came up and had formative years around like the 2000s, there were revolutions in hip-hop, rock, and the alternative scene. And because of that, Disney's put out this album featuring all these really cool bands and stuff that, nobody really talked about it. And I feel like it's a disservice to not talk about it as a kid who was, a fan of most of these bands in most cases. Except for the newer ones that did, Eye to Eye for this one, It's genius. We're going to take a starving market for Midwest emo, and we're going to bring it back. Well, do you think you can market it to newer people? Newer people? We've got the entire fan base that we need. Half of the Disney Plus subscribers aren't in what our target age group is. Gosh, you're right. Yeah, last one was kind of bad. Disney is a family entertainment corporation, but it should cater mostly to children. And this is catering to children who are unfortunately living at their parents' house in their 30s in a lot of cases. That's to no fault of your own, however, economy and things like that and different lives and wanting different things for yourself, sure and all. Those things have changed, but Disney has managed to remain a constant and suck your lifeblood away from you. Dude, my mom used to work Toys R Us back in the day. And Toys R Us was an amazing place that it was like Fantasy Island for toys. They had every kind of educational toys, action figures. There was a boys and a girls section for toys, which I'm sure people wouldn't like nowadays. But, that's what it was in 1994. And it was fine. But it was you go get Power Wheels, bicycles, stuff for outside, games that you could play with your family. Aisles of board games. It was the first place to have a true dedicated section to video games. And it was a whole aisle, which doesn't sound like a lot to you guys that didn't shop like that or don't shop like that now. But it wasn't an entertainment section like you see at a Walmart until much later. These were the first places that you could go and you could play demos, and you'd have to develop a crick in your neck that still bothers you in your 30s because you definitely played a PlayStation that wasn't yours like this for many, many years in multiple establishments. And it was the Mecca. That's what it was. Now, because of the emergence of online shopping and things like that, the Toys R Us that my mother worked at got shut down. And secret time. The company decided to let her remain unemployed for a period long enough of which where they had to hire her and not back at her original position, which was a higher position in the store level of the company because she had been there for forever. She practically ran that store that she used to be at one point. Then they hired her at High Point Road, which was the only other Toys R Us in the area. Coming to get me one night from wrestling practice in middle school, my mom gets hit by a car. She's in another car, but she's in a wreck. The company, while she's on leave, hires somebody else and doesn't even mention anything to her. And, she just kind of let it go. A lot of us did because we just thought it was companies back then. Nobody thought to sue a company or wrongful termination for things like that. And Toys R Us, you were wrong for doing that. If I ever see Jeffrey Giraffe in person, I'm going to take the leftover Jeffrey dollars I have that I kept for years because I thought it was cool that my mom worked there, and I'm going to shove them down your giraffe. Whoa, hey, whoa, hey, whoa. I got on that whole tangent to say this. Disney used to have this thing called the Disney Vault. And ever so often, because the main Disney product at the time, outside of because if you bought Disney figurines and plushies and stuff, you had to go to a Disney store to buy that. That was a legit thing, was the Disney store. That was a coveted store in the mall for the longest time. The Disney store. That's if you wanted to buy Disney merch, that's practically where you had to go. Outside of some Winnie the Pooh shit that you could buy at Walmart or things like that, or some off-brand Eeyore stuff, you basically had to go to the Disney store because they didn't license their stuff out. But they had partnerships with places like Toys R Us and KB Toys and things like that to sell their movies. And Disney had a perfect marketing strategy. That was the Disney Vault. So you could only get newer movies. And I remember, Toy Story coming out, which was Pixar at the time, and it was Pixar solo. It wasn't Disney Pixar at the time. It was just a Pixar movie that they happened to have a production company deal with Disney Disney at the time. So, like, Disney just had their fingers slightly in it. However, on those movies, they would, like, talk about vault releases. This led into a massive collectability of VHS tapes, and I mean actual VHSs. If you have some of these laying around, I'm telling you, dig around and look at them, look at the boxes. If they're in good condition and you're not married to them, think about, selling them. Some of them are ridiculous, like going for thousands of dollars, like the high collectability of it, because Disney maybe released these tapes on VHS or on DVD for a very limited or a short amount of time. So, with the advent of streaming services and the arrival of things like Disney Plus, and all their stuff out there at the library like that, the Disney Vault is a forgotten aspect. That's why these things were, looked at. But Disney still does the same thing. They offer programs for a certain amount of time, and then they'll pull them down for weeks at a time to increase the demand for them, to drive sales. Or they'll cancel programs out of nowhere. Take Bluey, for example. They did that. And that was a harsh blow. So I'm wondering, what Disney have to do with these bands? This is a cool thing. A whole new sound is a really interesting take on it, because like Disney can't use that we're going to put it in the vault model. You have to understand, these bands that you've given the right to do your song to, unless you've made them jump through some ridiculous hoops, are going to play these songs on the road when they're able to, because they're going to be instant crowd pleasers, and they're going to play them whether you put the album back in the Disney Vault or not, because there is no Disney Vault anymore. We're in the digital age. There's no way you can vault anything up. You can't lock it away like that anymore. Like, there's just too much access to it. There's too much of it out there. And whether you guys want to admit it or not, or admit it, believe it or not, and I'm not condoning or saying anything about it, but there are a whole ocean of internet P-rates out there that, pillage and plunder, and will definitely distribute that stuff to the wealthy, kind of like your Robin Hood of Disney, as it were. Glad I got that whistle off pretty well. The point being, the name of the game has changed, and now we're back to like pop punk of the early 2000s. So put on your sideways caps, get ready to do your bounce, and let's listen to some fun stuff like we did. Now, remember, don't bounce or crab hop too hard, guys, because the knees are old. As always, guys, I'd like to take time to remind you that I love every single one of you for watching stuff like this. And remember, check out all the shows that are going on at the 80 Box Comedy Club this week. Come check us out at the weekly open mic at the Brewers Kettle in Kernersville. Do yourselves a favor. If you're in the Raleigh area, check out Two Rings Comedy. My friends Michael McChesney and Kate Beretti. I did a great show with them at Chapel of Bones. Shouts out to Aaron Ransom. A-Dog, good luck, safe travels, all that jazz. Look, guys, it's been a good week. And we're a day late because, we're behind. But we're getting these out because I'm doing these for you. We're going to do 52 of these in a row. And when we do 52 of these in a row, we're going to maybe do some cool stuff for the people who are subscribed or are following this. And, the more people subscribe and following, the more fun stuff we can have. So this is number 3 of the weekend update for the Sidewalk crew. And I think it's been fun so far. Now, a couple things. We are going to have a big old-fashioned podcast here coming soon that's going to have some of the original crew, some of those guys from way back in the day on YouTube, some of the new guys, and some cool friends who do that. That's going to be a really awesome show. Keep an eye out for that coming up. Do remember that the Grey Gables show, Comedy in the Gardens, is happening this month on August 29th. Jenny Stencil's closing that one down. That one's going to be fire. Jenny's amazing. I owe at least half, if not more, of what I'm able to do in comedy to the tutelage of the people that I met at her fine establishment, the Idiot Box Comedy Club. So having her come out and do the show is amazing, and I'm super stoked about it. Also, I kind of want to know different things to talk about. What do you guys want to talk about? What would you guys like to hear me, give my opinions on or things like that? I know next week we're probably going to talk about the rise in Final Fantasy cards on Magic because it's back on. This bad boy's about to go to Picante, dude. Oh, and just by chance you've forgotten who this is.